First, we will show you how to be financially stable. Then we will answer the question, should you date a man who isn't? We want to hear your thoughts coming up right now. Welcome to Live, Love, and Marry Wiser, where our mission is in our name. Proverbs 4:7 says, wisdom is the principal thing. Therefore, get wisdom, and in all you're getting, get understanding. Today, we want to give you some understanding about money, financial health, and broke men. Hi, Onita.
Hey, Lorraine, I wasn't ready for the broke man part.
How are you doing?
I am doing wonderful, wonderful. As some people may know, we've been doing the fast, and so I've been getting out walking every day and getting in, already shedding some pounds. So I'm just so excited.
All right, I love that. I love that. Yeah, we're in a women's group, and we have a health coach that's working with us and doing veggie keto. I should put his information in the chat at some point today.
Yes.
Because he's a great guy. He's a Christian, and he is helping a whole group of us get our health in order holistically, not just lose weight, but to get our health in order. So we're happy about that. All right. Well, our producer is not here, so I apologize. I'm going to have to be doing several things today, but we have a wonderful guest for you all to be listening to, and we're excited about that. In the chat right now, there is a link to our Afterwise recording. If you want to join backstage, Winston's going to give a great presentation about finances, and we're going to talk about money and dating men who don't have any. And if you have questions and you want to talk to him or talk to us, come on back. You will click that link, and we'll remind you. Don't do it now because no one's back there. But at the end of the stream, we will remind you, and you're welcome to come back there. We would love to have you back there. I think that it's probably time for... I'm going to just make up something. You got a question for me? Ask me a question, Onita. What do you want to know?
I want to know, first of all, outside of, because you're very busy. You've got courses that you're writing, you're coaching, you're doing devotionals every day, you're on the board, you're prayer meeting, you're at church. I want to know, have you made time to want to even be available for dating? Like, is there any time in your calendar space? Have you been outside?
I knew you'd have a great question.
Yes.
I didn't think that would be it, but that's a fantastic question. And what I will say is that I have not been outside except to go from the car to the house, to the, I did go to the mechanic today, and
okay.
And, hey, they do well.
Yeah.
But I did go to the mechanic. But I mean, he's a tall drink of water, man.
Okay, come on.
Jamaican drink of water. So, but that's not why I went. But, the car actually did need to be repaired. But what I will say is that I have made time. I just have not done it. So is that okay?
Yes.
So what
So
I
we're
have
gonna. So
done,
we're challenging you to see when I need an actual date and time so I can be accountable for you.
that's
Like I
good.
can like
That's good. That's
hold you
good.
accountable.
So Wednesday is my day to like not really do stuff in the evenings. I used to have like something every single evening.
Hmm.
Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. And
Hmm.
so there was no time. Like, obviously I'm not gonna go out during the day typically, even though I do work for myself. So that's possible if he asked me to lunch. But
Right.
Wednesday's kind of my day to not have a lot of stuff to do so I can do other things that are fun.
Hmm.
So what do you want me to go out and do?
Well, that's the thing. I'm trying to figure out like where can you see people. I don't know if there's any conferences in town
Mm-hmm.
that are happening that you can maybe go by. Any networking opportunities, entrepreneur network opportunities. Going out, going to lunch, actually taking yourself on a date and maybe stumble into somebody. Like you got to be outside.
I gotta be outside. I know. I was gung ho when this all started, but just time got away from me. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
I do a lot of stuff, but I will do that,
Yes.
Onita, and let's set a date. Let's set a date so I can
Let's
give
set a
you a real
date.
update. So next week I actually have lunch with somebody else. So I will be out, but it's with a woman.
Okay.
And I mean, there'll probably be men in the area, but I'll be focused. So let's. How about the Wednesday after that?
Yes.
I'm gonna go out and do something that will make me accessible
Yes.
to a man,
Yes.
some men, numbers of men.
Numbers. Even just to, just getting the data, just talking, just
Just
getting
get
back out there, being comfortable,
yes.
not coaching, but just being pursued.
Not coaching.
Yes.
Okay, I'm gonna do it. All
All
right,
right. All
you
right.
hold me to it. We got people on here watching. I know Onita's gonna hold me, so I don't even need to worry
Yes.
about that. In 2 Wednesdays from now, I think Wednesday is the 12th. Next Wednesday is the 12th, so that would be the 19th.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Okay, all right, let's do it. We're doing it. Okay,
All right.
so I'm gonna take that because I have been slack in trying to get these things done, and I'm sure there's conferences. I know there's the Better Business Bureau, there's the Chamber of Commerce or whatever, so I can participate in some activities by then. So all right,
Yes.
we got it.
Yes. Awesome. I can't wait for the update.
All right. And you ladies, if you're any single ladies out there watching, you need to do the same thing. You need to take the challenge as well. You have to get out of your house in order to find someone. So,
Yes.
so let's do it. We got it. All right. Well, we have a wonderful guest. And if you have been following us, then you might recognize his last name. And he is here to talk to us about some financial stuff, financial things for single people. It's not going to be exclusive to women, obviously. But for single women, he's going to give us some counsel. He's a girl dad, and his wife is in the chat.
Awesome.
um, but she also was a guest on here twice, and just a couple of weeks ago she was on here. But our guest today is Winston M. Lucombe. He's MBA, CICA, CFGM. He'll tell us what all those mean. Winston is an accountant by profession. He currently serves as an accounting manager with Virginia Department of Transportation, where he assists in overseeing the agency's $4 billion spending budget. How many of you would like to have a $4 billion spending budget? He is happy to oversee that for you. Winston has served on several boards, including the board of Richmond, Virginia Financial FCU. There's a lot of Richmond, Virginia type stuff, so I'm trying to spell that out for you. For over 20 years in various capacities, including controller, secretary, and supervisory member. Winston is the owner, president, and CEO of Consolidated Financial Services, where he provides tax and financial consulting. He has the spiritual gift of leadership and administration. Winston enjoys mentoring young minds and position individuals for their next level of growth. Winston was born in the beautiful island of Trinidad, West Indies, where my mother and my brothers were born. My father was born in Tobago, but migrated to the U.S. as a teenager. He attended college in New York City, gaining a BS in accounting from Medgar Evers College in 1984 and an MBA in management from Long Island University in 1989. He is a certified internal control auditor and certified financial grants manager. That's what all those letters meant by name. Winston has completed several leadership certifications, including VDOT's coveted leadership and enhancement development certification. Winston has served as the AGA Richmond chapter for many years, including president for program years 2019 and 2022. He is married to Dr. Denise D. Lucombe. They have 4 grown children and 7 precious grandchildren. He enjoys playing tennis, soccer, and traveling. I should have showed you his picture, but now we can just show you him. Welcome to the stage, Winston.
Woohoo! Hey, welcome. Thank you so much for having me. It is a joy and a pleasure to be here with you, ladies. I'm excited.
Good. We're excited.
I have some things I would like to share with you, and I hope it's beneficial to your audience, and I hope I could bring some added value to their life journey when it comes to finances. I said, I'm no expert, but I'm just a little nobody trying to help somebody. That's all it is. So
thankfully, our audience is in their 40s at least, so they probably remember that song. Because anybody younger than that. Well, we are gonna start off with you. You wanted to share some things with us. Just give a biblical foundation for finances, and we are happy to do that because we love the Bible and we love God, and we want to do things the way He wants to do them. So
I'm hoping that this works. I'm not sure if it would, but I'm hoping that it works. If not, y'all gonna just have to hear my raspy voice. But I am gonna share a few things with you.
Okay.
Now let's see if I could share this. Share screen here, and well. Come on, work for me now here. Come on. If this is going to work, I don't know. Let's see if it's going to work. Maybe if I should let me do this. Could you all see that?
Yeah.
Okay, that's a good thing. That's a good thing.
Good.
Okay.
All right, we're getting there, folks. Just stay with us. Yes.
All right. Now we're cooking with gas.
Yes.
All right. Okay. What I want to share with you, a lot of times people want to drink champagne, have all the big dreams of all the good stuff, but they only have monies to finance water. So I like this topic. I would admit I stole it from someone because I love it. And basically, champagne dreams on a water budget.
Well, we're looking for that $5 billion. What is it? 50 billion? We want that budget. So tell us how.
On the $5 billion budget. Lord have mercy. So I want to start off again. I want to give some clear, practical viewpoints of how one ought to deal and handle their finances. And I would start off with this. It all belongs to God. Again, this is all from a biblical based perspective. Okay? It all belongs to God. That's what the scripture says.
Mm-hmm.
In Psalms 33:9, it says, "For he spoke, and it came to be. He commanded, and it stood firm." God did that. In John 1 and verse 3 says, "Through him all things were made." So if he made all things, that means all things belongs to him, right?
Mm-hmm.
Without him, nothing made that has been made. It all belongs to God. Psalm 50 verses 10 to 12 says this: "For every animal of the forest is mine, and the cattle on 1,000 hills. He know every bird in the mountains, and the insects in the fields are mine. If I were hungry, I would not tell you, for the world is mine, and all that is in it. It all belongs to him." Psalms 33 and verse 6 says, "By the word of the Lord the heavens were made, their starry hosts by the breath of his mouth." And of course, everyone knows from the very beginning, God created the heavens and the earth.
Mm-hmm.
So all these scriptures points to all things belongs to God. First Chronicles 29:13 and 14 says, "Now, O God, we give you thanks and praise your glorious name. But who am I and who are my people that we should be able to give as generously as this? Everything comes from you, and we have given you only what comes from you." So, in other words, whatever we have
Mm-hmm.
don't belong to us.
Right.
It belongs to him. So then, what do we do with it? I want to share 10 biblical principles with you that
Mm-hmm.
would help your audience. I hope it help your audience understand, again, coming from a biblical perspective now, how to manage their resources. Again, this is just 10. These are not the all of them, but these are 10 that
Not comprehensive.
I thought would be beneficial and helpful. First one, tithe faithfully. Tithe faithfully. The top
Mm.
priority of our income, before we do anything else with it, should be God's tithes. God says in Malachi 3 and 10, "Bring all the tithes into the storehouse, that there may be food in my house." See, a tithe is 10% of a person's increase, as it says in Deuteronomy 14 and 22. It says, "Which is given to support the ministry and the works of the church." So when we tithe, we show God that we are putting him first in our lives.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of folks don't understand that concept. When we tithe, we are putting God first in our lives. And so continually, God doesn't need our money, for sure, certainly not. Why? Because it all belongs to him. Everything we have ultimately belongs to God. So tithing is a principle of trust and obedience.
Mm.
Get that? Tithing is a principle of trust and obedience to God. Second point, spend less than you earn. Spend less than you earn. It sounds easy, but it's hard to do. See, we live in a culture of constant advertising bombardment, and in a culture of that sows discontent. You know,
Mhm.
we are taught that you know we can and we should buy whatever we want, whenever we want, regardless of the consequences.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Proverbs 13 and 11 says this: wealth quickly gotten dwindles away,
Mm.
but massed little by little, it grows. Ah, that's a powerful, powerful proverb.
That is.
Powerful proverb. Point number 3: be wise with debt. Be wise with debt. See, debt is always debt always mortgages the future. Get that? Debt always mortgages the future.
I like that.
It will always come calling. Hey. It will always come knocking on your door. And it can lower your standard of living in the future. See, we must make sure that we don't presume upon on the future. And that we understand that the true cost to us is whatever we put together, put in place now in the present. This is what it says in Proverbs 22 and 7. The rich rule over the poor, and the borrower is slave to the lender.
Yeah.
And I love that Donna Lawrence song. It says, we ought to be lenders and not borrowers.
Yes.
Yeah?
Yeah.
So be wise with your debt. The 4th point: follow a budget. Follow a budget. Proverbs 27 verse 23 says this: be diligent to know the state of your flock and attend to your herd.
I don't got much sheep, but I get you.
So, put in modern terms, we need to be aware of how we are using our income.
Yeah.
So we can know whether, what we need to make adjustments in our spending. You want to know, follow your budget. If you don't have a budget, create one.
Make one.
There are lots of resources out there in YouTube and elsewhere on the internet. And shucks, now if you ask Chat GBT or whatever it is,
yes,
to create a budget, it'll tell you and show you how to create a budget.
Yes.
Yeah? So follow a budget. Point number 5: avoid unnecessary borrowing. Avoid unnecessary borrowing. Again, the Bible talks about the rich rules over the poor, and the borrower is servant or slave to the lender. Try to avoid unnecessary borrowing. Now, keep in mind, we live in a society where we have to borrow because that's how the system is structured. But we could avoid it. Some of us could avoid it, but we try to reduce the amount of borrowing that we do. All right. Number 6: save up before spending. Save up before spending. Financial planners generally suggest that you save at least 10% of your income every month. I know many of us don't do it. Hello. You may not be able to save 10%. Maybe you could only save 5%.
So you preach it to the choir, but the choir is a little bit apostate. We are like, okay.
I'm being real.
Yeah.
We being real too.
Yeah.
They suggest that you have at least 3 separate or individual accounts.
Mm-hmm.
One, you have one account for your day-to-day living, right?
Mm-hmm.
Then you want to have a short-term savings account for minor um, incidences that may come up, and then you want to have a long-term savings account that may be looking towards your retirement. So those are the 3 basic accounts one should have: a general operating account, a short-term saving account that would address any major vehicle repairs or anything that may come up, and then you want to have a long-term savings account in terms of future, for retirement, for the children's college education and things like that. You want to have that type of account. All right. Um, so when you talk about save up before you spend, um, yeah, yeah, I have, I try to sidebar. I have a credit card, but it's the only credit card that I have. And so when I'm spending, if the money is not in my account, that means I don't have it to spend.
Mm.
See? The credit card is for emergency.
Mm-hmm.
Some places you go, you won't be able to do business without a credit card,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Mm-hmm.
Even if you may not be paying for it, but they want to have a credit card on hand. And so you have that. But otherwise, if it's not in your bank account, you can't spend it. Oh, this is a good one. Number 7, give to others.
Mm-hmm.
Give to others. Everything we have, our money, our assets, our job, even the ability to earn comes from God.
Amen.
And after meeting our own needs, God wants us to share some of what we have with others.
Mm-hmm.
In other words, he's not saying that you ought to, take care of your own needs and then go give away all the rest to others. That's not what he's saying.
Mm-hmm.
When you say give to others, we ought to give to others from the heart, right?
Mm-hmm.
From our overflow.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Right? From our overflow. He's not saying to go into debt to give to others,
Right.
but from an overflow. In Acts chapter 20, verse 35, Paul quotes Jesus in saying this: "It is more blessed to give than to receive."
Mm-hmm.
See? So we should give unconditionally. Unconditionally. We should give from the heart. And even when the recipient cannot repay you, we
Mm-hmm.
should
Yeah.
unconditionally.
No, that's good.
Someone called me a couple of weeks ago and says, "Oh, I had something come up and I had to spend my money. I don't have enough money to make my mortgage payment. Could you lend me $1,000?" I say, all right. Let me pray about it. Let me see what I could do. Of course, I prayed about it and discussed it with Dee, as every married person should.
Amen. Amen.
Discuss it with her.
When you get married, ladies, discuss it with your husband.
That's right. And of course, you say, well, no, we won't give $1,000 because we made the decision years and years and years ago that when we lend anyone any money, we lend it knowing or with the expectation that it would not be repaid.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
So if you can't give it,
If you don't get it back, it's all good.
mm-hmm.
Right? You don't take from your mortgage money, lend it to someone. I'm gonna pay you back in three days, right? And 3 days come and you can't find them, but your mortgage is due in 2 weeks.
Mm-hmm.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So yeah, we have to be wise. We have to be wise. All right. So give to others. It's more blessed to be give than to receive. And of course, we know that if you give to others from the heart, we know the blessing that you will receive. And you're not giving to get a blessing
Right.
in return. You know, you're giving because you have the love of Christ in your heart.
Amen.
All right. The 8th.
Oh,
Be content.
Oh, that's good. That's
Be
good.
content.
Yes.
Yeah.
Be content
Yes.
with what you have.
That's a good one. That's a good one.
Hebrews.
In a lot of things, not just
Oh yeah. Listen to what Hebrews says. It says, "Let your conversation be without controversy, covetousness, and be content with such things as ye have. For he had said, I will never leave thee nor forsake thee." Be content with where you are, with what you have.
Amen.
All right? Don't co-sign. Lord have mercy.
Anita having some
Lord
PTSD or something.
Good. Listen. And if you want a scripture, here's a scripture to that one. Proverbs 27:13. You all write that down. You know, you ought to exercise extreme caution. You know, so when Uncle Johnny come and says to you, look, I have this business idea. You know, it's powerful. It's going to work. I know it's going to work, but I just need some seed money. I need some investors. You know, I want you to. Could you co-sign for this loan for me? You know, you'll get it back. No, I'm sure you would.
He said, "I'm sure you would." That already sounds shady.
Exactly.
Don't do it.
Don't do
it.
Don't do it.
When your cousin come and say, "Man, I'm having a difficult time, but I want to get a car," you know, don't do it.
Yeah.
Now, I'm not saying that you would never co-sign for someone. All right. For those parents out there who have
Your wife is in the chat saying, "Don't." So it sounds like you're not going to either.
I'm afraid to ask what she said.
Let's put that up on the screen so he can see better.
Okay, yeah, she didn't say children, but she didn't say children or spouse.
Yeah. So, but yeah, what I'm saying is this. I'm not saying that not for everybody. So
yeah,
for the single parent out there, for the single mother out there, the single father. We're talking about females specifically now. For the single mother out there who is you know, just working, has, you know, 2, 3, 4 children that's caring for, and they, you know, God bless her, she able to see them come through and went into high school and graduate high school. May not have had the best of grades, but enough better grades that they get accepted into pretty decent universities. But she can't afford to send them. So what? They have to take out student loans, and parents would have to take out parent loans to help the student. The parent is co-signing for the child.
Yeah.
So in situations like that, yes, you got to co-sign.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So, you know, basically, we have to be wise, and don't, you know, don't go co-signing for everybody who come and with this great idea and whatnot. All right. And finally,
that's a good one.
Finally, seek godly counsel.
Yes.
Seek godly counsel. Psalms 1:1 says, "Blessed is the man that walketh not in the counsel of the ungodly." A person needing financial advice shouldn't go to someone who makes their living selling the very thing he is contemplating buying. In other words, you wouldn't go to a used car salesman and ask for advice on the type of used car you want to buy. It makes sense?
Yes.
I'm not knocking used car salesmen.
No, I get you. I get you.
I'm saying use wise counsel.
Yeah.
Proverbs 15 and 22 says this: without counsel, possessors are disappointed, but in multitude of counsels, they are established. So seek godly counsel.
Mm-hmm.
So these are my top 10 uh, uh, of how we could best manage the resources that God has given us. Tithe faithfully, spend less than you earn, be wise with debt, follow a budget, avoid unnecessary borrowing, save up before spending, give to others, charity. And again, giving to others doesn't necessarily mean monies.
Mm-hmm.
It could be equipment, it could be resources, and
Time.
whatever asset you may have.
Mm-hmm.
Be content with what you have.
Mm-hmm.
You know, don't be covetous. Be content with what you have. Don't co-sign for anyone. And of course, seek godly counseling. Those are my top 10.
Amen.
I hope they were beneficial to you guys. And I'm going to stop sharing, and we're going to come back to some questions to what you may have.
Thank you, Susan.
Okay. I love that. Thank you so much. I
Yes.
appreciate all of that. Some of those are reminders. Some of those are new things that we need to put on our list. I hope you took a screenshot of that.
Yes.
Or you can go back and watch it again, get some more views. So, as you know, we've talked about the fact that this program is directed towards single women, but single men and women is probably going to be similar in this perspective in some of the questions that we want to ask. And I'm going to jump around because we don't have time to answer all of these questions because it's a lot. But I want to start with, besides kind of like the management part that you just shared with us, what do you think are some of the most important financial steps a single individual should take to secure their financial future?
Yeah, good question. Now, I would say this, sir, and I know you're catering towards the single, but I think everyone could benefit.
Yeah.
From the response.
Yes.
Okay? When we're talking about what or financial resources or financial planning, some of the things that everyone ought to do. Again, when we look at the top 10, and understanding that everything belongs to God and all that, we need to remember that we live in a world, especially here in the West, right? Because I remember as a boy growing up, there was very little going to the bank,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Mm.
So my grandparents, they came up saving money, and they would build a one-room house, or they would save up some money and build another room and add it on, and save up some money, buy some sand and brick and concrete and whatnot. And that's how they built the house.
Wow.
And before you know it, they got this huge house,
Mm-hmm.
right? But when you look at it for us today, the society we live in is about borrowing. It's about borrowing. I think let's say for the young person who just graduated college and got their first job, right? I would say from the very jump, if you were to save, say, $100 a month, let's say $25 a month. I know inflation killing us today, but if you were to save $25 a month, and if you are consistent with that, by the time you retire, you would be retiring with close to $1 million
Wow.
if invested properly.
Wow.
If invested properly.
So you're not saying, and just so be clear that when you're not saying put it in a bank somewhere, you're saying invest that $25
Yes.
and obviously get, if you don't know anything about that, you want to get counsel on that.
Right.
And Winston has a business, so if he has information.
And if you want to look at good investments, my good buddy Terrence, he would give you some sound advice in terms of for young people especially.
Okay. Well, we'll get some information and put it in the description. I don't know how to do that, but so okay.
That's a good start. That's a good start.
Good start.
Yeah.
All right. And even if you're not young and maybe you didn't do that, you have, I mean, you're still alive. So start now. The more you can invest, obviously, is the better, because it'll get you there quicker. And you're not starting at 20, starting at 40, then, you know, obviously you're 20 years behind, and that compounding interest is a beast. So,
Exactly. Now, and again, you're talking about, and ones may say, well, you're going to put, open a savings account and put away your 25 or your 50 or your $100 into your account. Today, one may say, well, the bank's only paying you 1% or 0.5%. You're not getting anything.
Yeah.
But do some research, because I found a bank. I won't call the bank, but I found a bank that pays me 4.5% on my savings.
Oh, come on now.
Awesome.
I like that.
Yeah, everybody has a phone. You can find it. You can find it. And I would even say, even if you started off with the smaller amounts just to get in, if you know you're a person that you're not even saving today, even if you just start off putting that 25, like you said, but even if you're going to go to a bank, but maybe once it gets to 1,000, you take that 1,000 and go try to get a 6-month, 12-month CD that does have a higher interest yield. You can do that because you're starting somewhere. You just got to start somewhere.
Yeah, the point is the start. It's the start.
Yes.
Yeah.
And even for the seasoned individual, let's say you're in your 40s or 50s, and you grew up living paycheck to paycheck, and I'm not knocking that, but when you get that 2% or 3% increase on your job, act as though you didn't get it.
That's right.
Take it and put it over there.
Mm-hmm.
Put it in something that would create compound interest on it. So when it's compounding interest, that means it's working for you. It's not just sitting there or somebody's using it. It's working for you. So find a savings account that's going to provide that.
Your wife has some advice, Dr. D. Starve yourself from Amazon for 3 months and take that money and buy some penny stocks or utility stocks.
Okay, and add DoorDash to that. Add DoorDash.
That's a good idea. That's a good idea. How many people can fast from Amazon for 3 months? Put that money in, and don't spend it on something else.
Exactly.
Just put it aside.
And it adds up. I'm like, it's so funny. I've been trying to do that lately. My Amazon cart, the Save You Later. Somebody shared to me one thing. It was like, my Save You Later cart got like over $1 million worth of I mean, that stuff, because you like you say, just like, do I really need this? Let me save it to later, to later. One of our other questions, and you've kind of answered this, but just to make it plain and simple for somebody who may not have an emergency fund right now, what is some strategies that somebody can start, some things they can do to start this emergency fund? Because even the $25 could be their emergency fund.
Yeah, absolutely. Again, the thing is start.
Mm-hmm.
We're talking out to young females, young women, or more mature women, even so, that you know, I tell my girls, you know, I taught all my children. We taught all of our children.
Mm-hmm.
You got to put away something, even
Yeah.
if it's $20.
Mm-hmm.
Put it away. Put it away. So for that emergency, short-term savings, put it away. Another type of investment, a lot of I'm switching gears a little bit, but type of another investment that one could put and see their money grow is treasury bonds.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Anybody could go online to the United States Treasury and purchase bonds. The interest, it compounds, and it's safe. So if
Mm-hmm.
you're scared of not taking risk,
Mm-hmm.
that's a
Right.
very great alternative
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
for
that's
saving for the long term.
What do you tell, I'm assuming that you have clients that are not married, but what do you tell them about like creating a will and a trust and insurance and those types of protections? How do
Mhm.
you navigate that? And who is the best person to choose to be your executor and all, those types of things?
Good, great question. Um,
yes.
for the last 10 years, I guess, I've been steering my clients away from wills. Wills are a great thing. Everyone should have a will. Even if you don't have money,
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
have a will,
Yeah.
right? Even if you don't have money, you should have a will. I was doing a seminar a couple of months back, and I met this young lady that says, "Man, I'm a single parent. I'm a single child. I'm an only child, right? And her father is gone, and it's just her and her mom is getting up in age.
Mm-hmm.
She says, I am scared because I don't have the resources to care for her or to even bury her when
Mm-hmm.
she passes.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what I'm gonna do,
Mm-hmm.
you know?
Yeah.
So it's a scary thing. It's a scary thing for an individual like that.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Again, but and this probably is information for another show at one time, but I'm gonna come back to the question. But you said when she came and she was talking about it, says, well, the burial services has programs and that you could start putting a little bit towards your burial,
Mm-hmm.
and once it's paid to point, that's it. And so you have that price locked in,
Yeah.
right?
Mm-hmm.
God forbid when that time comes and God calls your mama home, hey, you don't have to worry. It's enough going through the grief
Yeah.
Right. Right.
to have that financial burden on top of it now.
Mm-hmm.
Where am I going to get the monies to
Right. And you got to try to GoFundMe or
right,
whatever, trying
Mm-hmm.
to get people to, and she don't have any family, so trying to get friends and all these other people. Yeah, that's
right,
a
right.
nightmare.
So coming back to the question now is that when you're looking at individuals, you know, how to invest, um, you know, you could have, it's a multiple of um, instruments out there that one could use um, to invest in. I
Hmm.
forgot the other part of the question that you mentioned.
I was asking about
Oh,
trust,
trust
like
and risk, right? Yeah,
insurance, and that type of stuff.
yeah. I've been steering my clients away from wills. Again, wills are great. Everyone should have one, but I've but I've been pushing more towards the trust.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
I've been pushing more towards trust, um, for several reasons.
Okay. Yeah. Tell us the.
One of the main reasons is that with a will, you still have to go through probate,
Mm-hmm.
Hmm.
so you still have to go through the courts.
Right.
Whether you have a will or you don't have a will, you got to go through the court system, and it costs because you have if you have a lot of money, you have an executor, you got to pay the executor to manage the will, da 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 da.
Mm-hmm.
But with a trust, you don't have to go to the court. The trust has the trustee that's going to manage the trust. And the resources that you have, the assets and everything else that's in the trust, you already have that established, the purpose of the trust and how those should be handled, how it should be operated. So that's, I've been leaning more of my clients towards establishing a trust over.
And I think that, and I've learned a lot about this as well. It's one of the reasons I asked the question, because I know a lot of people don't know about trust, but I also know that a lot of people who hear about it think, oh, that's for rich people. That's for people with a bunch of money. And can you just disavow us of that notion right now so people can start looking into this for themselves?
A trust is not just for the rich. A trust is for everyone and anyone. Anyone can establish a trust. Or you could, and I would say anyone who has any type of assets could establish a trust. And I wouldn't get into the different types of trust, whether it's revocable, irrevocable, whatever.
You just talk to your financial planner.
Talk to a financial planner on that.
About
or
those things.
a good family attorney that will you break it down for you. A lot of times, there is also a trust that I think is called a health trust. It really protects your assets from Uncle Sam coming in and grabbing your assets should you or your mama or whomever else become incapacitated. You see? I remember
Sam is greedy.
My mother, before my mother passed, she had a little bank account and whatnot, but prior to her passing, and we got to be very careful too, but prior to her passing, this was years before, I began moving her assets away from her. And so years later on, when she became incapacitated and needed assistance and things like that, when they look at her account, she had nothing. She had nothing. So now they have to provide the resources that she needed in order for her to live until she passed. But the system is set up to take every penny from your pocket. So the single mother who is out there with young children, if you have a will, great. I would consider getting a trust. For the more mature person out there who is in their 50s or what have you, it's still, get a trust.
Well, that's good.
Who has an older parent still functioning, could still do for themselves, now is the time, because I think they go back 3 years. So you can't wait until your parent become, homebound or what have you, to start to try to move stuff, to show that stuff is being moved. So you got to be careful.
Okay. All right. I'm going to switch gears, Onita. All right, Mr. Winston, girl dad. This is a question that is really being asked all over the internet in the dating world. Should you, if you are financially stable, or even if you're not, but we'll start with, you've listened to all the advice that you've given today, and now you're getting your money in order, and you meet a man who does not have his money in order. Should you date him? Should you not date him? How would you advise your daughters? I'm sure you've probably given them some advice. So let's start with that.
That's a good one. Remember my last point?
Number 10.
Seek godly counsel.
Seek godly counsel. Seek godly counsel. Now, one may.
That's what we're doing right now. That's why we're having on here. Don't try to get out of my question.
So again, not you know, again from a spiritual perspective, you want to seek God guidance, pray about it. Now you meet this special person. How are they treating you? What are they after? You have to look into all of that. They're not financially sound. They're not financially stable. That their financial meter, right, shouldn't dictate whether or not you should date them or build that relationship or what have you. You got to look at where that individual is. Yeah, you got to look at where that individual is. It very well may be that that individual needs you to help bring them to where they ought to be. It very well needs you to show that individual, hey, this is how you ought to manage your finances. This is what you need to do. You got to have a plan. Where do you want to be in 5 years? Where do you want to be in 10 years? If you have children or if you want to have children, how are you going to financially support the children? Those things. Now, a lot of times people have a tendency to think in society that because the man is not making more than or bringing in more than the woman, then he's no man at all. That's a fallacy. That's a fallacy. God says that the two shall become one. Right?
Okay.
I heard this analogy recently. There was this guy who was dating this young lady, and they were dating for 3 years or something like that. And she had a child, and he proposed to her, and he said to her that his expectations is that he ought to become number one in her life. And she says, well, I can't do that. I have my son. And so she really couldn't commit to really getting married because she couldn't put her son after him. And the guy told her, look at it this way. Right now, when you're in your car, you driving in your car, where's your son? He's sitting in the passenger seat. And your fiance, he's driving his car, going down the road, right? You guys going down the road, two different directions. Now, when you get married and you have one car and you're traveling, where does your fiance sit? He sits in the passenger seat. Where does your son sit? He sits in the back seat. Why is that? Does it mean that your son is less important?
Right.
No. You see, now that you come together, you're driving down the same road, going in the same direction, the same purpose.
Yeah.
But it's an entire unit.
Right.
And it's the same thing. So when we come meet this young man who may not be financially sound or financially stable, it doesn't mean that you ought not to have anything to do with it. It may just be that you may be put in that position to help him along so that you guys could both be in the same car, driving down the road in the same direction.
Okay. So would you say, okay, it's okay to date him and just kind of see how things are developing, but would you advise a woman or your daughters, we're all your daughters, to marry a man who is not financially stable, or say, hey, let's work on that as we're if he's interested in working on it, because a lot of men ain't as well as a lot of women, vice versa. But so what would you say about like actually marrying that person? Now we're dating, but there's not really a lot of change happening, or he may not be still on the same page with you.
Oh man, that's a tough one. That's it. Tread carefully, tread softly. Again, be wise, seek godly counsel. If you see that individual is wasting their monies on fast cars,
With the sneakers, he got to get every pair of Jordan. He got no saving account.
Every time you turn, he got the newest $300, $400 pair of sneakers. Think about it. Where is his heart?
That's right.
Where is his heart?
Yep, that's where the treasure lies.
That exactly. That's where your treasure is.
Yeah.
So you have to tread softly. Part of the marriage counseling that D and I do is from a financial perspective.
Okay.
We counseling a married couple, and we say, hey, you're not ready to get married because financially you're all not on the same page.
Yeah.
You're not on the same page.
I love that.
Yeah.
And so we say, okay, you need to. We give them homework for the next 6 months. This is what you ought to do, what you ought to look like. Let's look at that and come back and see where we are. And you would see, sometimes, they blow it and don't do anything. And sometimes they will come back, hey, I've accomplished this and accomplished this and accomplished this. Yes. You're working on it. Yes.
That's
awesome.
good.
That's good. That's good. Because marriage finances can definitely be a lot of arguments in the marriage. And if
the number one.
Yeah, number one. And I'm saying if you're not even the financial vision of the relationship, like what are we doing financially? What is our purpose? What are we building together? And if we can't get the money right, we can't build.
Right.
We can't build. Now our foundation is already shaky.
Exactly.
Okay, I got another one for you. I'm just bringing all the arguments from the streets. Okay, so there is a population of men, and I'm sure there's some in the church too, but this is just kind of in the world, in dating, that say women should pay 50-50 for everything. When you go out on a date, 50-50. When you marry, 50-50. Just everybody 50-50. And some people even go so far. I heard this story about this. I was like, now you just trifling. So he took a girl out, and it was like $13. And he like texted her and asked her for the money to split for whatever the thing was. I was just like, now, not only would I not send you that $6.50, but I would not ever like call you for the rest of eternity.
Exactly.
But like, what do you think about the concept of, okay, so there's the 50-50 crew, but then there's also the men who say, no, the husband should pay 100% and you should just live within whatever means he makes. What are your thoughts about those ideas, and where do you fall?
Well, here we go. One of the things when God created Adam and Eve, he says, and Adam and Eve is the foundation for marriage, right? And so when God created Adam and Eve, he says the two shall become one. The two shall become one. So in a marriage, there's no 50-50. There ought not to be any 50-50. Right? Once you're married, what is mine is hers. And what is hers is mine. Now, when you come to spending, we have to agree. This is what we're going to be doing. Yeah? I'm not against, for me, again, I'm talking about for me. We have a joint account. I have an account, and D has an account. But the money is, I'm gonna put myself in the street now. For years, even though I'm the accountant, for years, D managed the household finances. For years. And when I get paid, it went into the account. She managed everything. If I need some extra monies, babe, I need $50. Okay, take it from this account or take it from that account. She don't need to, I need to go buy her Christmas gift or her birthday gift or anniversary or what have you. She's not asking me, what do you need it for? No. You see, she knows and trusts that it's something that I need, so I want to get. So she take it from that account. If it's not in that account, she said, nope, don't touch that account. Over here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And if it's for my birthday, you should take 150. But
and for years, that's how it was. And my friends would say, man, I ain't letting no woman handle my money. Yeah. Dude, and how is that working for you?
Right.
I
am often perplexed by the idea that people are married and they're just like, no, we're not sharing accounts. We're not because I'm just like, so you will share your body with this person, but not your money, because you can get more money. You can't get more of that. Like this should be the most, like, I mean, to each his own, whatever. But I'm just like always kind of like, okay, what? Like,
yeah.
So
I was going to go down that road, but I said, let me hold back.
Let loose.
We don't hold back here.
but you're absolutely right. You are sharing your most intimate person with this individual. But when it comes to your money, it got to be 50-50 because I work hard for this, so this is mine.
Yes.
See, so do you have a plan for the future together?
Right.
What happens if you were to get sick?
Right.
Because
where you're 50 at?
Where you're 50 at? Do you guys have separate health insurance? You may have life insurance individually, but who is the beneficiary of your life insurance?
Right.
You see? So when you're talking about 50-50, there should be no such thing in a marriage as 50-50. If you're dating and you go out on a date, these days the woman says, the man gotta pay. You're going on a first date. You're talking about $150 out the door.
Where do y'all be taking these women? Nobody spent no $150 on me. Let me just tell you right that. I'm gonna tell you that right now. People be saying that on the internet. They were like, it's like I gotta spend $250. I'm like, where are you taking these women on the first date?
Texas, Brazil, baby.
Exactly.
Sign me up for that. Onita, I gotta find me one next Wednesday.
Yes.
$250 date.
And then you say, especially on the first date, meeting, you want to grab a talk. I would say, you're going on a first date, don't be going on no extravagant place. You could go, on a first date, you could go to a movie.
Yeah. Which
on a first
also
date,
expensive.
You could go take a walk in the park.
Yes.
That's my deal on a first date.
You could go to Bronx Island.
Well,
yeah.
I don't live there anymore.
Yeah.
That'd be nice.
Stop at the ice cream truck and buy an ice cream. And if she wants more than that, Red flag.
I agree with that. That actually is for me like going to walk in the park because then you can kind of you're in nature, you can just be free. There's not as much
Yeah.
tension when you have to look right at each other. You're just talking and the flow can happen.
Yeah.
And it is inexpensive. I mean, it's cheap. I mean, it's free for real.
Yeah.
And maybe if the walk goes well, then you go, have a sandwich or you have lunch or whatever.
Yeah.
But I just think that.
Exactly.
But I'm gonna just tell you right now, I ain't coming out of my pocket on no dates. You don't got to spend $250 on me because you'll never. That's just not my thing or whatever.
Yeah.
I don't know where we going that we got to spend that kind of money.
No,
I'm gonna need you to put that in some real estate or something like.
That's married people date.
Yeah, that's like anniversaries.
Exactly.
That's married people date.
So
yeah.
Look, let me tell you, even if when we were married, not when, even as we married, even when we married, and we go out on a date, we have what you call a cheap date.
Mm-hmm.
A cheap date, and she probably is she still on? A cheap date.
She listening.
Ain't nothing but going up to Baskin Robbins.
Yeah.
And buying a shake, or buying an ice cream cone. We'll come home and sit in the park in the driveway and talk and lick on our cones.
No,
that's it.
I love that.
I like Hayden's question. That's when you guys were talking about the money game. Yeah, the main. I was saying it just boils down to trust. There's some distrust in that relationship to where either you've come from experiences where either you saw in the home that one person controlled the money, the other one didn't. Some kind of way you learned that, or either through past relationships, if you've been in, already lived in, checked up with somebody or whatever, you've learned, I can't trust a female with my money, or I can't trust a man with my money.
Yeah.
It's also about what you heard. Like I always heard growing up, my mom used to say, have your, emergency fund or rainy day fund. If something happens, actually, sometimes it would call your run money. If he not gonna, then you actually got your money, you can run. Yeah. And that's not a good way to look at it, because it's like, man, you already planning to come in. Something's going to happen. You already planning to leave.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's a trust issue there. And it's like, it's a bigger conversation, because if it's more so, where it's being controlling, and that I can see that could be why the female may say, okay, I don't want to have money in the account. And if the guy is like being a dictator about it and saying, well, I don't want you going to spend, I don't want you doing this, I don't want you doing that. I think the way the conversation is shaped,
right,
it actually help build that trust and break down these walls of fear of why not we can't share the accounts. Right. I mean, I've known some people that have been married and the wife didn't even know the husband's salary. That's crazy to me. How do you not know?
Yeah.
How do you not know that? And this is in church.
I'm familiar with that.
I'm just like, who's signing the tax return?
Oh, I don't know if you're signing it, but but yeah, how do you?
No, I do know someone, and they did not find out until they had to do the taxes.
Yeah.
And then if there's change of job or increase or whatever, and I'm just like, I don't even like my brain doesn't even process that. Yeah. Like, are you kidding me right now? So I think that's insane. So the reason that I said I was talking about, like, I'm not paying for no dates, because I'm not. But I remember I dated this guy. This was quite a long time ago. And I knew that he did not have money like that. Mm-hmm. And we went to like Applebee's. So this won't no $150 date. And my brother, not this brother, my other brother was in town. I don't know if Hayden was there. I think it was just Lyndon. And or we were going out so they could meet him. So I gave him the money so that he could pay because I already knew that my brothers were going to be like, what's up with this? If I pulled out any money or anything like that. Mm-hmm. So even though I think that there are men, I do think it's still a thing for men, a lot of men they don't necessarily have to make more, even though a lot of men do want to make more than their wives or their girlfriends or whatever. But money is kind of a thing about like providing for their woman. And so even when you're dating, most men that I've ever really experienced would be like wanting to do that. And so I'm not the person to take advantage of. I mean, unless you do have that $4 billion budget, then we gonna fly to Cancun for our first date.
Right.
But here's a question though. That wouldn't you think that if you're getting into a relationship, right? And you come in with the mindset of my money is my money and he's got to spend and he got to provide and all that. You getting into a relationship. Do you think then that if you were to combine your resources, right? One, you would end up in a bigger house.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
You would end up with a better driving car.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Your relationship will be better because he won't be stressed or she wouldn't be stressed, having to always be worrying about, oh, I got to work this job and leave this job and go to my other part-time job to do this and all that. You know, the kids could go to Christian education, in private school or what have you. You could provide more for the family unit.
Mm-hmm.
Wouldn't you think that all that benefit of pooling the resources together is best for everybody?
I think that is, I do think, I mean, but there is a population of men who are like, no, I want it to be my responsibility. I'm not a high maintenance kind of girl. I live in a room right now, so but I expect that to be my end. But I think that. And I just think I'm not doing 50-50 thing like that.
Yeah.
Like the mindset of that to me is not somebody that I want to be married to.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
But I plan to work. I have a business. I'm trying to grow that. So I plan to be financially successful.
Yeah.
So all of that is going to be for the family.
Yeah.
I don't believe in mine and his and whatever like that. But I'm just saying, for me, if he was like, when we blow up, Onita, and all the stuff starts coming together and we like millionaires, and he's like a 6-figure person, if he's like, I want to provide, I can live in a 6-figure house and we just have that money to do charity, give to other people, whatever, invest, blah, blah, blah. Yeah. I don't have any desire to manage the money. I just want to say, there's the money in the bank, give me my allowance and let me go on and live my life. Yeah. But so that's not my perspective. But I do think that for me, if someone asks me out on a date, I don't expect to have to pay for that. I just don't, you know, and I'm just going to stand by that. Yeah. I'm going to let you do your thing and whatever. And it doesn't matter to me if we go on a date that you can afford.
Yeah.
I don't have any of that stuff.
You see, but that's the thing. Let's
go on a date you can afford. I'm not helping you with that because you asked me out.
Right. Yeah. And that's cool and that's understandable. And that's your perspective and great. But when you think, I'm thinking about all of our listeners or young ladies who have or see on TikTok and YouTube and whomever else about this 50-50 or he got to pay for it. And then if we go on a date, he got to take me here.
Can't go Cheesecake Factory.
Yeah, no Cheesecake Factory. You know, that type of thing. So for those individuals, their mindset from Winston's perspective is materialistic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I hear you.
Materialistic.
Yeah.
And when you're thinking like that, it's very difficult for you to build a truly lasting, godly relationship the way
Yes.
God intended.
Yes.
Totally
Yes.
agree.
It's difficult.
Totally agree.
Yeah.
Thank you.
And I'm glad you
Well,
said that, because I want to say the because we're in a world now, like you said even early on, that's very, about consumption and material things. And unfortunately, people have taken what should be the value system. He's honest, trustworthy, you know, you can depend on him. He respects his mom, he respects you,
Mhm.
and now have made the dollar sign the value system. Oh, he has to take me
Right.
here, he has to spend this and spend that.
Yeah.
And then they're mad when later on he's not respecting you. He's cheating. He's doing all these things that are not the true value system. So people
Yeah.
have put the money ahead
I
of the
heard of. Yeah.
ahead of it.
Mhm.
And the sad thing, I've seen a lot more. I've seen a lot more of it. And even my daughter. So I'm glad when we're gonna have this younger dating episode coming up in a couple of weeks, where we've seen it opposite. A lot of women are paying for the dates. They are, but they're actually asking the men out, and they're paying for the dates. They're doing a lot of
yeah, I'm not gonna do any of that.
the past traditional roles, yeah, to where they're not even saying 50-50. They're like, oh, I got you. And it's like, it's one thing we're in a relationship, like we're an established relationship, we've been dating, we're together for a while, and now today I'm going to take the bill. So another thing, you're starting off
Right.
and you're paying and you're treating,
You're
because now
creating,
you have,
because you are creating, and Winston, you are in a different generation of men who would, for the most part, not even consider having a woman to basically take care of them.
yeah,
That's not your mindset, and that's a generation. But we are in a generation who a lot of men are being taken care of, and they're driving their girlfriends' cars, and they don't have no job, and they just home chilling. And I'm just like, no, I'm
yeah,
not. I'm not gonna be a part of that, and I don't want y'all to be a part of it. But I
yeah,
also, want to, just kind of be mindful of the fact that we don't want to be materialistic. We want to be God honoring
yeah,
in everything that we do, starting
Right.
from day one of meeting someone.
Right.
And we also want to recognize that even though money isn't everything, money is important, because as you get to the point of marrying someone, I mean, you just need money to live, and being on the same page. I think Hayden said it earlier. Mindset is key.
yeah,
He had talked about that last week. If you can have the same mindset about money,
yeah,
then it can work, if that's a healthy mindset.
Right.
But
Right.
the most important thing, and we're going to wrap up here. We thank you so much for your time. But the most important thing, I think, was what you said, number 10, is like seek godly counsel, because, money can be fixed, but character can't be.
nope,
I mean, not with a whole lot of Holy Spirit transformation, and you need to let the Holy Spirit do that with him by yourself.
yes,
Character.
Absolutely.
So
Absolutely.
if you are financially stable, you should get godly counsel. Frankly, you should get godly counsel no matter who you're dating, no matter how
yes,
much money he has or whatever, because other people can see what you can't see. But don't write somebody off because they may not have the same financial status as you. But also don't jump in and bring them, say, oh, well, they got a lot of money, so now they're good. Let someone else, other people, no matter who you're dating, have a conversation, see the person, meet the person, engage with the person, so that you can then make a wise, godly decision about, is this the right person to go forward with?
Because
Yeah.
at the end of the day, like I said, it all belongs to God.
yeah,
And you if you come into a relationship with dollar signs in your eyes, and the economy flips on you, or something happens with your job, the business closes, or whatever, you get hurt and the dollar signs are gone, where do you stand?
yeah,
Mhm.
Where do you stand? Do
Absolutely.
you, and I've seen a lot of people turn and walk away because they can't handle taking care of the individual, taking care of the situation. They don't have the resources to do that. And so it's easy for, and You're going to get me preaching now.
Yeah.
You'll find that in this society, you know, it's set up that, it's easy for individuals to turn and walk away.
Mm-hmm.
I
Detach.
don't want to deal with it. I don't want to have anything to do with it. He can't afford me, so I am gone. I'm looking for someone who could take care of me. Because, at the end of the day, it's a selfish thing.
Yep.
It's a selfish thing.
Mhm.
And that's one of the reasons I think why relationships are struggle and don't last in society today. Because everybody is thinking about themselves and instead of thinking about the other person. If individuals, and we're going to marriage counseling now, if individuals were to put their partners, their spouses first,
Mhm.
if they were to put them first, you would see many marriages succeeding.
Yep.
Oh yeah.
Because you're
Yep.
not thinking about yourself. You're putting yourself behind.
Yeah.
See? And it's a choice.
Yeah.
It's
And
a,
it starts when you're dating.
and it starts when you did it.
The
Yeah.
mindset.
The mindset. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mindset.
Absolutely.
Mindset.
Thank you so much, Winston.
Yes.
We really appreciate
Pleasure being with you, lady.
it.
Wonderful. I hope you would have me back again at some later time. But thank you so much for having me. God bless you all.
You're welcome. Let me share this last scripture here. Proverbs 21:5. The plans of the diligent lead surely to plenty, but those of everyone who is hasty surely to poverty.
Mm.
Yes.
And what we wanted to do today was give you the practical steps to take to how do you can, because you're single now, so you need to be doing something to take care of your money, to build money, to have plenty. God is not against money.
Right.
We have a whole show on that. God is
Yeah.
not against money. But then making healthy decisions about what happens when you bring someone into your life. Who should be brought into your life? Who shouldn't? What mindset do you all? And if you don't know how you think about money and how you manage it, then you just kind of pick anybody and then y'all end up fighting once the marriage happens. And you don't have to totally agree, but you have to have a plan that works together.
Yeah.
Because no one is exactly alike in how they think about money, and typically people are almost opposite. But if you can come together on a plan on this is what we're going to do with our money, and we're both faithful to that, even from the beginning, because I think some of that has to start before you get married. Those conversations have to start, and we have to start seeing something. Because if you just base it on conversations, people say whatever they want to say, is what they're doing. And so we just wanted to start this conversation, and we know we got some good feedback on that. Thank you, Joy. We appreciate having you here.
Yes.
And I am so happy. Thank you so much, Winston, again. Thank you, Onita. We appreciate you all. We're just going to go into the recording studio in a little bit. So I posted the link here in the chat. Let me get that for you. It's pinned here. So it's in the comments if you want to join us and just talk to Winston, or even get his information, or the person that he was talking about that helps with investing. If you want to get that, click the link once we get out of here, and you can join us backstage. We'll just be there for, probably about 20 minutes. Thank you all for joining us again. Please like, share, comment, subscribe, all the things, because we need you to do that so we can get the word out. And we will say until next time, make choices that will help you live, love, and marry wiser. God bless.